Ladies and gentlemen, March 26th is going to be an important day. It's where my guest goes up against, for the first time, against Bannock Ogg, the Renegade. My guest tonight is none other than the 16-time World Heavyweight Champion, the elder statesman, David Hawk Actor, who is also one of the co-founders of Over the Edge Wrestling. David, welcome to the program.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and of course, we talk about 16 times being the world champion, but the only one that matters is that next one, number 17. And Immortality is my event. It's the one that I kickstarted. I was the very first OEW World Heavyweight Champion, and I promised you I'm going to be the next one.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. So, you're going into this match against a man that you've known for a very long time, but you guys have never worked together in the squared circle. How is that possible?
Well, different companies, different timing. Bannock has always been out there on Twitter, Facebook, being like, we got to get DHA Bannock in the ring. We got to finally find out who is the real Renegade, which one of us really deserves that. And in the end, you are just constantly in this little circle, right? Bannock wants to make it all about him. Bannock wants to be, this is the Bannock show, but he's wrong. It's the DHA show, always has been, always will be.
Okay. So you're going into this match on March 26th against your opponent. Have you begun a training regimen, or you have your mind set? What are you doing to prepare against like a guy like Bannock, who is near 7 foot tall? He's very destructive in that ring. What kind of preparation are you doing?
The big thing I'm working on is conditioning. Like, what has really helped me prepare for this has been that Paul Slater did not allow me to wrestle. And now even Tiesa is like, well, you're not a wrestler, you're a commentator. So, that gives me that time off. That gives me the ability to recuperate any previous injuries. But yeah, it's all about conditioning. If I can just outlast him, like, I'm never going to match his power. I'm never going to match his reach. But I can work harder than him. If I can just take those original onslaughts, that first 3-4 minutes that he's going to come hard at me.
Right.
If I can make it through that, then I've got a good chance.
Right. So let me ask you this, David. Let's say, hypothetical, you win the OEW Heavyweight Championship for the 17th time that you're going to be holding a belt. What's your next course of action? What do you got planned?
The goal, as always, is to make wrestling and OEW the greatest it can be. And in the community, there's always going to be people who look down on other groups, on other people, on commentary, on, that ring looks terrible, the arena's terrible. Mm-hmm. But you get somebody respectable in that OEW World Heavyweight Championship position, and you watch how their opinions change. That is what DHA can bring to the table, and that is why I work so damn hard.
And do you think that you're the guy for this job, that you could really carry the OEW banner?
Lex, I've been doing that for 13 years. Of course I can carry the banner.
All right.
When people think OEW, they think DHA. That's the truth. So, of course, I can take it to the next level.
All right. Well, let's talk about the OEW. So, OEW came back in 2021, right during, towards, I guess, the middle, maybe towards the end of the pandemic era. And for that first maybe year and a half, you weren't seen in the OEW ring. What made you decide to want to come back to the OEW and to go along with this question. Why didn't you want to come back right away?
As I said, when people think OEW, they think DHA. And that is not just an honor, it's also a burden. And I didn't want that burden to be on OEW when it got restarted, when it came back. You know, I wanted it to stand on its own 2 feet and build its own new legacy. The problem is there were a few roadblocks in the way. There were some stumblings. There were moments that made OEW feel lesser than it should be.
Okay.
And
like what?
Sitting in a different group.
Like what? Give me a prime example of that.
Well, a prime example is losing your world heavyweight champion.
Okay.
You know, when you got a champion who walks away rather than losing the title, that's not a good sign. And that's happened to OEW a couple times now.
And why do you think that's happened?
I think it's a mixture of things. Obviously, there's going to be people who always feel that they deserve more, but they're not willing to work for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is what sets someone like myself apart from the rest. You know, you can't just have this mindset that you want to be the best. No. You got to make that happen. You got to be in the ring. You've got to be busting those promos. You've got to be working hard and outworking everybody. And that's why I end up in the position I do as often as I do, because I will outwork you. And I don't have to like you. You don't have to like me, but I will still work with you and try to make everything better. But that's why I came back. OEW deserved to be treated with respect. It deserved to be treated with some reverence, you know, like this was OEW. This was the place that gave people an opportunity that never had an opportunity. You know, one of the best stories from the original OEW that I recall was about Vince. I don't know if you want me to drop his last name, but Vince had applied at another company multiple times, and he couldn't even get like an interview with them. Nothing. And then he came to OEW. Not only did he get in, we held the doors open for him. Not only that, he got mixed in with the Destined group. Not only that, he got thrown into some amazing storylines. Not only that, he headlined the very first Immortality with me.
Right.
That's an opportunity that he never would have had at any other group.
Right.
And that is what really sets OEW apart. The stories we want to tell, the stories that we get to tell are our stories. They're your stories. The people that sign up, it's their story.
Right. So
we are not dictating everything to other people.
So let me ask you this. So let's go back to March 26th. It's going to be a big day for you. Vice President of Operations has already made the match. It's going to happen between you and Bannock. You guys are going to be in a huge battle for this championship belt. What kind of story do you think to tell between, well, you're David and Bannock is your Goliath? What kind of story do you want to tell?
Well, that's very key to it right there, that David and Goliath story. When you get two big guys, you're limited. When you get two high flyers, you're limited. But when you have two guys who have very different styles inside the ring.
Opposites of each other. Yeah.
Then it meshes well. It works well together. You've got Bannock, who is definitely going to come in playing the Goliath type. He's going to be coming in with that power, that strength. He's going to throw people around, and that's what Bannock does so well. And then on my side, I'm going to come in. I'm going to try to maybe technical work him, because DHA loves striking.
Right.
I do. But Bannock is going to be just that much better than me at striking. Right? He's got the reach advantage. He's got the power advantage. It would be foolish for me to think that I could go blow for blow with this guy.
Right.
So that is definitely not my plan. And I know Bannock's going to watch this and he's going to be like taking notes. He's like, so David's planning for this and this and this. And that's great. I love that. I think that is going to be amazing. As you said, this is the first time we've ever been in the ring together. This is it. Bannock Ogg was the very last OEW World Heavyweight Champion from version 1. Okay. I was the very first. And now we finally get to be in the ring together.
Wow. That's definitely a lot of good history there. Some really good history notes for the fans that are watching this program right now. Good insight. So let me ask you this. So there's a lot of talk going around. A lot of it came from Bannock about the name the Renegade. He claims that he is the Renegade. But, I'm not a historian, but I do know a little bit of past history with the OEW. You were once known as the Renegade. So how did the name Renegade David Hawk Actor take off? Like, where did that come from?
Well, I can't speak to how Bannock got his, but for me, it goes back to my dad. My dad was a truck driver, and his CB handle was Wyoming Renegade. Okay. That was it. So I was like, Renegade sounds amazing, and I didn't want to call myself something like the Idaho Renegade. So I just dropped that, and it was just the Renegade.
Went with the Renegade. Wow, yeah. That's actually really cool. That's a really cool insight. Now, you in the last 13 years, you've gone through various different transformations, and I've followed you throughout the years. I've read your social media. I've talked to you many different times throughout the last 13 years, and you've gone through a series of changes. And one of the biggest changes you went through, it's probably at least going on for at least 5 years, when you decided to drop the Renegade and become this man of the people, man for America. I believe you were at one point you were known as the president of the arena, and then you became the elder statesman. How did you? Well, first of all, why? And how did you come up with this new change, this persona?
Well, politics is always polarizing. Mm-hmm. And I was a big fan of a character, Cheryl White, mm-hmm. Who ended up becoming my manager for a little bit. And I wanted to work with her. She's a good friend. And the evolution of DHA seems to constantly be in motion. Mm-hmm. There's always this change. But one thing I do like to think, and I'm probably wrong here, but I do like to think that each mm-hmm. one kind of molds into the next one.
Right.
DHA started as the Renegade, kind of just a jerk, honestly. And then I went through this transformation into the Stinger because I wanted to captivate the audience. I wanted to be a good guy. I wanted to get their approval, So I put on this face paint, started making it more of a spectacle. And then when I decided that was no longer necessary, when I was getting to the point where I no longer needed their approval, that it was finally time for me to just approve of myself, that's when I became the icon. And you're right, president of the arena, that was a big step.
Right.
Cheryl White and I were doing really well, taking this political turn, and I ended up winning the King of the Arena tournament for another company. And I said, you know what? DHA is so American, he would never call himself king, because we don't have kings. We have presidents.
Of course.
And that's how that happened. And then when I left that company, it felt wrong to keep calling myself president of the arena, mm-hmm. which is how I became the elder statesman.
Right.
Because it's still in that political vein, but it also is a tribute to how I've changed, how I have allowed my maturity and age to affect me, the character.
Right. So that's actually very, very good, insightful information, and I'm sure a lot of folks that are going to be watching this, don't even have a clue. Um, so let me just ask you this. So you came back to the OEW. At one point, you were going up against, I think it was Omen, and you were involved in a feud with TJ Aquilas for the interim championship. Actually, no. Omen got injured, and he wasn't.
Omen was out for an injury.
Yeah, that's right. And so when you were called, and according to my notes here, I'm looking at my notes here. Give me just a second. So, according to some notes here, El Jefe called you personally. So, my question is, do you know who El Jefe is? And what is your connection to him that he actually called you to come back to the OEW?
Well, I could never answer if I know who El Jefe is or not. That would be wrong, because obviously when El Jefe wants to reveal themselves, they will. They'll step out of the shadows and be like, haha, it was me all along. But that felt really amazing, honestly. Being called to be like, listen, we lost our guy. We need someone to step in.
Right.
And at the very least, even if it wasn't going to be myself as champion, even if they just wanted me to push TJ to the limit, that still would have been an honor. Because whether you are the champion or just fighting for the championship, that is a level that everyone should strive for. And I came in, I did my job, I won the interim championship, I lost it to TJ, and then we got the triple threat where I really thought, man, I was so close, and then I got fired.
Yeah, you got fired. Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this: what did you think? What do you think of Tiesa returning and reprising her role as the vice president of operations? What is your thoughts on that?
Tiesa and I will never see eye to eye. It's just not going to happen. But she knows talent. She knows people who work hard. And whether she wants to admit it or not, she knows DHA is one of those people. Like, look at the way she came up with this match. Honestly, I was saying it on social media. I need to thank Bannock for being so annoying that Tiesa just said, you know what, Bannock? Fine. Just to get you to shut up, here's the match. And now I get that opportunity. It is a little worrisome for me because, of course, people can change their minds. We've got that poster behind me. That could change tomorrow.
It could.
It could be like, you know what? I've had a moment to think about it, and screw that. But
I mean, it could be Monkeen versus Bannock, March 26th.
It could. I don't think that would be as marquee a match, but if that's what Tiesa chose, there's not really much I could do about it. That's the point. She is the VP of operations. She is the one running the show. And again, even though I don't see eye to eye with her, I do respect her as an individual. I respect her position. And yes, I was campaigning for Paul Slater to take over. But I'll be honest, he kind of seemed like more of the same. Paul really did not improve OEW like I was hoping he was going to.
Oh, wow. Really? I mean, it's no secret that Paul and I are very good friends here. He did bring back the women's division. He did bring back Tank Ventura. We have a new women's champion because of Paul. You got to.
You're right, and I'm probably just taking this from a selfish point of view. He didn't do anything to help me like he was supposed to.
Okay.
That campaigning I did for him was supposed to lead to my reinstatement as a wrestler, and it didn't. And
Right, because
that's kind of, that was a kick to the nads.
well, I'm looking at my notes again here, and you were actually supposed to be a commentator. What happened? We only saw you on the booth one time, and what happened with that? Can you explain?
Well, yes, my contract currently is as a commentator, and fear not, people will be seeing me on the table again.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not who I am. I am not
Right.
just a commentator, even though I'm probably the greatest commentator that will ever be. No, the truth is, I'm a wrestler. And one way or another, that's where I belong, is inside the ring. And I would like that to be for OEW. But if it's not going to be, if it's just not in the cards, if I feel like I'm just yelling at the wall to be like, let me in, and it's not happening, then I'm going to have to find a place that will let me in the ring.
So let me ask you this. So if things don't work out in the OEW for you, where would you go?
I don't have. I don't want to say I don't have offers, because I do have offers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any plans. I have not spoken with anybody about a potential come, because, like I said, I want to wait until the very last minute. I want. I'm not a quitter, so I will keep pushing until I feel like there's just nothing left I can do. Until I feel that it's just over. And honestly, on March 26th at Immortality, if I win, Tiesa could still come out and fire me. If I lose, Tiesa could still come out and fire me. I could come out to commentate this coming Sunday. Tiesa could still come out and fire me. There is no guarantees.
That's very true.
And but listen, that will not be the end of DHA. I honestly assume I'm going to die inside the ring one day.
Which ring? We don't know. Could be OEWs. It could be
anything.
It
could be back at Snake River Wrestling. I don't know.
Yeah, Snake River. Wow, haven't heard of them in a long time. Well, all right. Well, here's my next question for you. Let's get back to March 26th. So March 26th, you're going to get in this ring with Bannock Ogg. Now's the time where I want you to share your thoughts on Bannock and tell Bannock whatever you want to say to Bannock. Here's the opportunity. Here's the platform. Go ahead and say what you have to say.
Okay, well, let's say right off the bat, Bannock, I believe you're an amazing individual. I believe that you are an amazing monster inside that ring. I believe that you are everything you claim to be. You're a guy who will knock people out. You are a guy who will throw people over the rope. You are a guy who will do whatever it takes to get the OEW World Heavyweight Championship. And I respect that. But I'm the same way. I am that guy who will do whatever it takes. And sometimes that means bending the rules. Sometimes. This is not a confession by any means, Lex. I'm just,
Right.
Allegedly, I have bent the rules. But I am going to bring everything I can into that match. I am going to do everything I can to make certain that the true patriots out there get the world champion they deserve, and that is DHA. Bannock has been in the game a long time. He is a guy who started way back when, right? He knows what he's doing. Normally in the ring, I have an experience advantage. I don't have that in this moment.
Right.
Because Bannock has been where I've been. He's seen what I've seen. He's done a lot of the same things I have. He's wrestled a lot of the same people. But that doesn't mean he's ready for DHA. That doesn't mean he's ready for that NMP. Because when I get that, when I hit that, I am going to cover. I am going to win. That's how simple this match can be. An NMP at any time could take it out.
Wow. You hear that, Bannock? An NMP. That's all it's going to take. Wow. Well, some strong words there from the elder statesman. And ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder that March 26, 2023, it's going to be Immortality. For the OEW World Heavyweight Championship, it's going to be Bannock Ogg against the elder statesman, David Hawk Actor. Now, David, before we end here, I like to ask, one little final question here. Because we are kind of pressed for time here. I got the cameraman, telling me, hurry, wrap this up. But so now that you're here in the OEW, and there's a lot of young talent since the days of version 1. And we've seen some of the old OEW originals return, like Nina Prater. We've seen Tiesa. We've seen JW. At one point, we saw Styx Mayhem. But there's a good group of young talent right now in the OEW. If things go well for you, and you win that championship, and you decide to stay here a little bit longer, who do you see yourself going up against in the near future? Or who would you like to go up against in the near future?
I mean, that's a great question. It depends on what I'm looking for. Am I looking for a solid competition? Then I'll take someone like Parker the One or KJ Dallas. If I'm looking for an easy win, give me Johnny Angel. It's there are a lot of great people right now, as you said, and honestly, it could be anybody. And I think that's the great thing about being champion is you do get that variety. You get that mix of styles. You get the people who may not have gotten a chance. Like we've seen Skillix. I wouldn't mind facing Skillix again. Mm-hmm. I don't think Josh Poffo and I have ever fought for a world title. That would be fun. I know that JW Beeswing just got back, but he and I have a lot of history going all the way back to when we were teammates in the Outlaws.
Right.
And so that could be an interesting angle to go from too.
Well, what if? So let's do a big what if here. So, as you are well aware, Tank Ventura holds the Winter Medallion that will allow him to cash in at any given time on any given champion that holds that belt. What if Tank decided to cash in when you win that belt? Do you think you could withstand the power of Tank Ventura?
No. And that's the exact reason I didn't mention him. Because I wanted to mention guys that I would be competitive against or that I could beat easily. Mm-hmm. Tank Ventura is not that guy. I don't know what regiment Superstar BJ O'Hare got him on, but that guy is tearing through people.
Right.
At an alarming rate. And definitely holding the championship puts that big target on you, right? And
that's
Tank
true.
Is coming. He's 100% coming. Maybe he wants it when I win it. Maybe he doesn't. But Tank Ventura, if I see Tank Ventura versus DHA, I promise you I'm going to be sick that day. I don't know what happened. I was in a car accident. Jeez.
Wow.
But yeah, Tank Ventura is definitely a guy that I would be worried about. He is that type of person. And you know what? I'll also throw LBA in there too. Mm-hmm. They are dangerous. LBA is an unorthodox individual who...
You can say that again.
I mean, he seems to feed on pain. I mean, maybe that's just me and I'm projecting or whatever, but this guy is a world-class weirdo, and I would not want DHA versus LBA either. So those two guys, I'm a little wary of. Mon Keen, I think I could have a competitive match.
Well,
his
that's
aggression
because
is off the charts.
that's because Monkeen is the greatest talent that we have in the OEW. He's the most dangerous man in the OEW. And don't be fooled, just because he wears that eye patch doesn't mean that he's less dangerous. That man is very dangerous, and I've watched him up and close, David.
And listen, I agree, Monkeen is dangerous, but as a wrestler, if I'm the world champion, I think I could at least hold my own against Monkeen.
You think so?
You put me in the ring against LBA or Tank, and I would feel like the underdog.
Wow.
Monkeen, it could be a 50-50 split. I think I could overcome his aggression.
Wow.
Yeah, don't tell him I said that, though, because I don't need him coming after me.
I mean, he does watch this program. He might have already seen it.
Okay, why don't you just trim that area out and just we'll take it from here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
No. I'm not in the business of fake news and altering my news.
No. This is alternative facts, man. That's what we do here.
All right, Elder Statesman. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You've been a great pleasure to have here on my show, and good luck on March 26th. It's going to be OEW Immortality. I mean, it's hard to believe that, Immortality was created 13 years ago, and it's back for a second year after the resurrection of the OEW. David, thank you very much, and good luck. And I guess I'll see you on comms at some point.
Yeah, you will. Thanks for having me, Lex. It truly is an honor, not just to be back in OEW, but obviously being in that main event match at Immortality. I'm really excited, and let me reassure the true patriots that I am still 100%
right,
the world champion you deserve.
All right, well, you heard it, folks. David Hawk Actor says that he is the world champion that everybody deserves. The real American hero. We're going to find out on March 26th. Until then, this is Lex, here at the Complex, signing out.